in an incredibly weird season, packed with, in my opinion, only weird games. It seems just about perfect that something very, very unthinkable from years past has now become very normal, and it's happening again. The Chiefs are going to their 4th Super Bowl in 5 years. I still can't believe that's true, and I'm very excited to talk about it. Welcome to Only Weird Games.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
I'm here in Kansas City. Seth is at his desk. We're starting a little early because Nate is at an airport, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. Listen, fellas, I've heard some things from, the KCSN Discord, who may or may not be keeping notes on who picked who, and that's not important. What is important is that the Chiefs got it done on the road in Baltimore, the week after getting it done on the road in Buffalo, the week after staving off a Tyreek Hill revenge game in a frozen tundra of Arrowhead Stadium, and it bleeping happened again. Nate, you are at the midway point on your trip home. What was it like in Baltimore last night?
I just want to remind everyone that I am here at the Atlanta airport. We'll just say that it's pretty gigantic. There are a number of Chiefs fans traveling alongside me, making the connection from Baltimore to Atlanta and then Atlanta to Kansas City. I gotta say, guys, cheers. It's been a long season, and what a time. So the atmosphere was not as hyped as I thought it was going to be. I know that might sound weird. But like Ray Lewis doing the dance before the kickoff, I don't know. People felt nervous. Like there was more.
Say it out loud. Bills Mafia did it better, didn't they?
They did. They did. They were more.
They were more. Can't catch a break.
They were more loud and more passionate. It was one of the weird things. So like at M&T Bank Stadium, the press box is in between the lower deck and the upper deck. So it's a great viewing area. You can hear pretty much everything. I think the way the fans celebrated in 2021 when the Ravens beat the Chiefs on Sunday night was louder at any point in yesterday's game. There was just a level of nervous energy, and I get the sense that the Chiefs stopping them on their first possession, the Chiefs going right down the field, including a 4th down conversion and going right into a touchdown. And even with Lamar Jackson's brilliance, neither the fans nor the Ravens felt comfortable. And so that was the biggest thing that jumped out to me in the first half, was me thinking, man, the Chiefs are going to have to show this championship resolve because they're going to get, some haymakers emotionally from the Ravens. And they're just going to have to withstand that, try to keep the score close, and then rally late to win in the 4th quarter. And whether it's a coaching brilliance, and I read your piece, Seth, up in the newsletter on my flight from Baltimore to Atlanta, it was exceptionally done.
Thank you.
I don't know whether you want to say that's player-driven or coach-driven. It doesn't matter where you want to put the credit, but experience matters. And it wasn't even that crazy of an environment when the game began. So that's what jumped out to me in the first half. We can get into a little bit more. But yeah, the Chiefs controlled the game from start to finish.
Yep.
And that's hard to imagine given how dominant Baltimore was all season, and including the second half of their divisional round win against the Houston Texans. And gentlemen, the last thing I'll say here, I guess there's 2 things I'll say to start this off. Josh, I didn't want to say it, but I gotta give credit to the all-time ball knower that I know. The man who knows ball.
We can't do it like this.
The man who taught ball to me, who broke it down to me on Thursday, I believe, is when I talked to my father, Michael Taylor, lifelong Chiefs fan, obviously appeared on Times Ours before its unfortunate demise.
As long as you're not giving Seth credit, I'm okay.
I talked
Josh
to my dad
thought
on
that was going a direction, and he's so happy right now.
Yeah. So my father, Michael Taylor, who I've written about in The Athletic, who's obviously been on Times Ours, who's trying to find a way to get to Vegas as we speak.
Oh, let's go.
he told me on Thursday, he's like, I actually think the Buffalo game is going to be harder than the Baltimore game, mostly because he trusted Steve Spagnuolo. He understood that, like, he said, like, man, I think they're going to get an emotional lift from doing it on the road for the first time. And so it's going to be less of an issue, right? Because they just went through it. It's another one mobile quarterback to another. And he's like, I just trust Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, because they have the better coach and the better quarterback. And he's like, I think this is going to be a coaching mismatch. Let me tell you, kids, my father was right. My father was right in every major facet of trying to analyze and sort of predict this matchup and sort of giving me his thoughts, because he's like, he said to me, and I thought, I don't know, Dad, that seems pretty wild. But he was like, no, the AFC Championship game was last week. This is just to get to the Super Bowl. He's like, I thought Buffalo was going to be a harder challenge than Baltimore, even though Baltimore had the more impressive season, because he had seen Steve Spagnuolo just have success against Lamar Jackson in the past, and that proved to be the case. And then I told my dad at halftime, oh, CBS just put a stat up that alerted me, let alone I can't imagine what it's like for those fellas going into that locker room. The Baltimore Ravens, gentlemen, played, and ladies and gentlemen, the Baltimore Ravens played 18 games. They started the games. They usually were the better team. Give them credit. They're awesome. They have the presumptive MVP. They have a Super Bowl winning coach. They have two coordinators, offensive and defensive, that really push the team further schematically. They had never went into the halftime in any of those 18 games down double digits.
Crazy.
Wow.
And when I saw that stat provided by CBS, I said, oh no. Oh God. Can you imagine not experiencing real adversity from a scoreboard perspective all season? And now there's 30 minutes left in your season. You're down 10, and you basically have to pitch a perfect second half. So those two things are what really jumped out to me, was just my dad understanding that, like, he just felt like they were going to be ready for the moment, being the Chiefs, which Seth wrote about in the newsletter, and that the Ravens just hadn't had a game like that all season. And it's just hard to you make one of two choices, right? You either really dig in and do the things that make you successful despite circumstances going a different manner than usual, or you feel those oddities and you start focusing on that versus the task. And you saw that over and over and over again throughout the game. So the Ravens never led in the game. Again, the only game this season where they haven't had the lead. It's crazy.
That's well, it honors me to know that your dad and I were on the same page. It was interesting.
That's easy, Seth. I don't know.
Now give him the credit, baby. Give him the credit.
You know, we're getting that time of year again, and this is the time of year where the knowers of ball start to really set themselves apart.
Oh, yes, they do.
Yeah, you had this 17-10, right? That was your final. You thought the Chiefs would win this game with 17 points?
I thought they'd win by a touchdown.
Yeah, you thought 17-10 was. You thought you took the under on 30.
Hey,
Yeah,
they were
more or less.
on trend to get to 30 at halftime.
They were.
They were.
And so what ends up happening, you know, as often happens, when you know what, I'm not even going to get into all that BS.
No,
because there's too much ball that I want to talk about. Things change, and you've got to adapt. You got to adapt, and I'm willing to adapt and say I underestimated the Chiefs' defense, and I underestimated Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' willingness to adapt to that kind of game. A willingness to say, okay, our defense is crushing them. We're up 2 scores. And let me just say, I talked about this. I've talked about this already once. I'm going to talk about this again. Fans were complaining about the play call in the second half, and I get why on a few different moments. And, you know, sometimes you just, you know, you go for it on 4th down. You don't quite get there. And, hey, all season, just run the ball, Andy, on 4th down. Well, sometimes it doesn't work. And that's just,
Right.
That's how it goes. Sometimes you get stuffed. And, by the way, the Chiefs were one of the best teams in the league at converting short yardage this year. They just were. They're good at it. Baltimore was just making plays. Baltimore was stuffing the run pretty well in the second half. And the Chiefs dialed up some shot plays. There was a check down in the flat, and I can't remember whether it was to Noah Gray or not, but it was a design shot play where Mahomes pump fakes to the flat and then checks deep. And the boundary corner, if he bites, you go deep. The boundary corner didn't bite because Baltimore does have an incredible defense. Try to ignore what the Chiefs were doing to them in the first half because, man, they just started rolling them. And I think that's an underrated aspect of this game. Baltimore was, they go 3 and out. The Chiefs go down the field and score on them, including you can't underestimate converting that 4th down with you don't have anyone that can cover Kelce.
Yep.
And then that touchdown, which was really no. You really don't have anyone who can cover Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Oh, Kyle Hamilton, that's cute.
Hey, Kyle Hamilton, welcome to Come at the King. You best not miss hole that is Jordan Poyer. Derwin James Jr.
littered with the body.
Yeah, Matt Milano.
Luke
Kuechly's been there.
Luke Kuechly.
Chris Harris Jr. I mean, Gilmore. And here's the deal. Hamilton played a great game. But at 34 years old, you still can't just put one guy on Travis Kelce. And that's incredible because he's just too good. Now, to be fair, that touchdown throw is indefensible.
Okay. Can I say something?
I'd love to hear it.
Josh, he started the game 10 for 10 after their kicker decided to go troll, I guess is the best word to say. Shout out to this lady behind
smart?
me.
Justin Tucker, what were you thinking?
Justin Tucker, you're in the Hall of Fame. You've won a championship.
Yeah.
What you doing, baby? Back. Like,
also, what are you doing kicking from the goal line? Because, hey, Justin, that's never going to happen.
Right. And
why is your kicking tee on the goal line?
That's why Mitchell Schwartz, who I, again, love and respect, was like, no kicker would do that. He's only doing that to try to either get some insight during the Chiefs warm-up session or he's just doing it to agitate them and troll them. And so guess what? He went 10 of 10, and then later in the game, he threw the ball literally into Justin Watson's gut. And I just said, I can't anymore. I can't.
Yeah, no, oh my goodness. That was, on a side note, what a great play call. And I know there's been a lot of conversation about Tony Romo maybe not being quite as good on the call this year as he's been in previous years. But when he talked about Andy Reid, okay, you're going to go play man-to-man? Well, now we've got answers for that. And Mahomes, that was such an accurate throw to where the ball and him intersected just at the perfect time, the way used to look in Tecmo Bowl. It was just incredible. But there's so many things there, to the coaching aspect. The Ravens didn't seem prepared for the idea. And this is all speculation based on what we can see, right? But the Justin Tucker thing, the attempted jawing before kickoff, the extracurriculars, the pushing and shoving. It genuinely feels to me like Baltimore hyped themselves up as though they were playing the 2019 Chiefs. And look, the 2019 Chiefs, look, I'm not running across Reggie Ragland in a dark alley. They had some tough dudes on that team, but they were more of, especially on offense, they were more of a finesse team. They weren't known for, how did the Titans always hang with them? Generally speaking, they dragged them into slugfests. I don't think they expected the Chiefs to go shot for shot with them. And I don't think Justin Tucker expected Travis Kelce to calmly, didn't create a scene, didn't yell, didn't whatever, just walked over and very calmly kicked a football away, threw a couple others through the tee, rolled the helmet, and then just walked away. And Patrick Mahomes pretended not to notice any of it. And
he let Travis Kelce handle it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, no, I'm going to let my gigantic... I think people forget what a big dude Travis Kelce is, by the way, except for, certain moments. And, for example, when he decided to actually lower his shoulder as he's heading down the left sideline and just obliterates a tackler. When was the last time you saw Travis Kelce lower his shoulder like that on someone? That was mean-spirited. It was great. But they didn't seem to have... I really think... the comparisons Mitch Schwartz made before the game was Jacksonville before the 2019 season. I think, laughing and that kind of stuff. And I really think, and the Ravens weren't bad about it. They were whatever. But I really think they kind of had started to buy into the hype. These guys, they're not going to score on us. And then for it to go 3 and out. Chiefs score, and then the Ravens score. They do. Now, they only converted on a 4th one because Tershawn Wharton was in a chokehold, which is fine. I don't really care because the Chiefs won. But it is worth noting the only scoring drive of the game, the only touchdown drive of the game for the Ravens only happened because of an uncalled hold. Weird. I've got to start paying the refs more.
Good line. Sorry, I wanted to give you some space on that. And culminates with a Lamar Jackson alien play. Like the type of thing where you go, well, that's Lamar. And if he only does that once, you'll take it.
And look, the best part was Nick Bolton, and I didn't need the broadcast feed, but I rewatched it and saw it. But Nick Bolton plays the play perfectly. Let's remove Leo Chenal. He knows exactly what route's coming, and he's like, I know it's Zay Flowers. I'm going to actually intercept his route, and then I'm going to just stay by him because Zay Flowers is a rookie, and he realizes, oh, is my quarterback getting sacked? So he just stops running. And then Leo Chenal's like, you want to see how big and strong I am, guys? You want to see how big and strong I am? I'm so big. I'm so strong. I might as well be a DN next year. And he did nothing wrong, guys. He did nothing wrong. You try tackling Lamar Jackson. You try doing it.
Tackle.
He had both of his hands or arms wrapped around him. And Lamar Jackson somehow ducked under it and threw an absolute seed.
Oh, yeah.
Because
great play.
Because credit to Zay Flowers, he's like, oh, I can keep running. So he just ran right by Nick Bolton. And Nick Bolton last night was like, what the hell just happened? Like, he's looking in the backfield like, what just happened? And Leo Chenal's like, it was me, dog. It was me.
And people have to understand the call there isn't for Bolton to cover Zay Flowers one-on-one. No. That's not a man coverage call.
He's just
Bolton
taking up space.
Actually, considering the position that he was put in, the coverage actually wasn't bad.
It was great.
The only reason he's trying to run down the field with him is because the play busted. That's it. That's not the play call. So people are like, oh, why are we calling Bolton to cover Flowers? They didn't. That's not the play call. But the big thing there, so that goes the way it went, right? An alien play from Lamar, who had a couple of them. That thrown pass to himself, that was amazing. That was so cool.
The greatest play Tony Romo has ever seen in the history of football.
I was like, man, I saw a better one like 2 minutes ago, but still.
Did they show the all 22 of that play?
No, I don't think. I don't think so. I haven't gotten to rewatch it yet, so maybe they did. If
this is,
Seth, you kind of nodded, but
I didn't write it in my story for The Athletic because there was just a lot going on. But I do think you should point this out, Seth, and make sure that my eyes were correct in the moment. If Drew Tranquil does not tackle him from behind, there's nobody. He runs for a touchdown.
My assumption is L'Jarius Sneed would have caught him somehow.
I don't know,
but that's not based on any actual football.
I don't know.
That's just based on L'Jarius Sneed made a decision yesterday that touchdowns will not happen as long as he's within 30 yards of them. So that is based solely on how he ran down Zay Flowers and not based on any actual football analysis.
But like he caught his own pass and got to full speed in 2 steps.
Oh my goodness.
It was shocking.
That was a very likely touchdown saver. Tranquil's someone whose film I actually might want to look at individually. I'm starting with Travis Kelce because I think it's a good rule of thumb when someone breaks a record that Jerry Rice set. Yeah. You should probably start with them. But
that means you've got about one story, I think, that's mandatory in the history of you writing about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 now.
So like to go with like the continued kind of theme of the game, they tie it up 7-7, and you could see them kind of okay, this is what they, and then the Chiefs just, what was it, 16 plays, 8 minutes, just a soul-sucking drive that includes Mahomes running around for approximately 30 seconds and Kelce laying out for the, like, I think, and I could be wrong here, I think after that drive, I think everyone watching the game expected the Chiefs to put up about 40. And more importantly, I think the Ravens expected them to put up about 40. Because you could see it. There's a reason they went for it that early. And we can talk about the analytics and that kind of stuff. That was like overly aggressive. That was like, I don't think we can stop these guys type aggressive. Or it was, I think they'll shoot themselves in the foot if we just give them gifts, because we watched the divisional round and these guys will never pull away. The Chiefs legit, and this is where it all comes together. The only reason the Ravens weren't down 21-7 or 24-7 or even 28-0 was some real luck. And I think they went into that halftime knowing that, and you could just see the things that the way they thought this game would play out in their head, it just wasn't going that way. The Chiefs were going shot for shot with them. Spags was just on one constantly. Like the things he does in terms of, why didn't they run the ball more? Because they were showing bodies in the run game. Spags is sitting there playing possum with them, saying, hey, you don't want to run against, I've got 7-8 guys in this box. No, I don't. You snapped the ball. And now they're all going backwards. And it just and the way they were rushing him, you could see the frustration. And maybe some of the conversations people had about them being a little bit of a paper tiger in terms of, or maybe just
I'm
more
sorry,
of a
did you just acknowledge, Seth, that maybe they hadn't played Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and an Andy Reid-led offense?
Right. Yeah, and they'd played the Niners, and one thing that we've noticed is that Mike McDonald has done really well against Kyle Shanahan's offenses and kind of their progeny. But we watched Matt Stafford. Now, Stafford can really sling it when he's on. We'd seen all these things, and you saw them kind of, why aren't you going down? Why isn't this working? And you could see the frustration building and building and building. And it just, the juxtaposition between that versus the Chiefs' demeanor on the road. Was there a single false start called on the Chiefs?
No.
Not a single false start. Not a single delay of game.
Because Seth, it wasn't really that loud, Seth.
Nate's just throwing bombs. This is amazing.
That's totally fair. I have one little interjection, which is that if the Ravens weren't that good and the Bills weren't that good and the Dolphins weren't that good, who's good? Can we? Because it's also weird to be like, well, and I think the Ravens offense got spooked. I think the Ravens offense got in its own head and things started getting real tight, real fast. They shut the Chiefs out in the second half. Mike McDonald adjusted to literally a shutout second half. A couple of those players got pretty chirpy and pretty chippy, but I don't think it helps the Chiefs any in our conversation about them to be like, yeah, the Ravens were kind of a paper tiger, because the teams in the league with the best DVOA on the season, the Chiefs vanquished all three of them in the AFC outside of themselves, who they have beaten in the regular season.
That's a really good line. And you know what? I should clarify that. By paper tiger, maybe front runner's a better line. And maybe when I say paper tiger, I mean in comparison to the hype they were getting, which they were being talked about as a historical
one of the greatest teams of all time.
They are a really, really good team that I think would have won the Super Bowl if it weren't for the fact that Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and Travis Kelce exist. And Chris Jones. You got to include him in that.
You said the name that you haven't said the name that's in our title today, which is the name that I think we need to start talking about more. Approximately.
Yeah.
And the fact that Steve Spagnuolo exists. That's one thing that just Mike McDonald got so much conversation for the things that he does well. Mm-hmm. And Spags, who does all of those same things well and has better players, kind of got overlooked. And Spags just put them in a turnstile. There's a reason why the pass rush plan that the Chiefs had, which was so disciplined. One of my favorite plays of the game, Chris Jones, this is the 3rd and 5 where Lamar threw the ball 20 yards out of bounds, but Ravens fans still wanted a pass interference penalty because, that's all they have left. But, it is what it is. I've been there. I mean, not recently, but I've been there. So Chris Jones wins the edge around the left tackle initially. And rather than pursuing that edge, he actually stops and starts moving back inside because he doesn't want to give up the B gap. And you could see the coaching point there. And that's the funny thing is that Lamar would have probably escaped through that B gap and gotten a first down. Instead, he hitches and steps up a little bit, and you can tell it's messing with his progressions. But he doesn't escape. And then Trashard Wharton, shout out to Wharton, having a great playoffs. He has stepped up. He breaks through, and there's nowhere for him to run. Spags just did such a great job with not just play calling, but the entire game plan. And he really does just deserve all the credit in the world. He's the main reason I started with the coaches was Spags.
Can I say one thing about Chris Jones, Josh?
You can say whatever you want as long as it's about the Chiefs defense.
Yes. Okay.
Land on the law.
I know we got to get to the usual.
No, we should talk about Chris Jones. That's the usual too.
So everybody knows that if the Chiefs won yesterday, based on him being a first-time All-Pro, he would earn the fourth of 6 incentives in his contract to earn $1 million. I want to give him, I don't know, I won't necessarily say credit, but I want to explain the growth in the maturation with how he did it. Kids, Chris Jones may never have another game like last year's AFC Championship, where he had the single tier in Arrowhead Stadium and terrorized Joe Burrow for 4 quarters. Ended the Bengals season just about as much as anybody on that team, including Patrick Mahomes, including obviously Harrison Butker making the game-winning field goal. I thought going into the game, and I know my buddy Nate Tice wrote it and said it publicly in the Athletic Football Show that, man, Chris Jones needs to be like all-world on Sunday. And I tended to agree with him, even though I felt he had a very good season. Now, he didn't have 15.5 sacks like last year, but he still had 21-9 quarterback hits. And that's what he's paid to do. He's paid to pressure the quarterback, hit the quarterback, affect the quarterback. If you get a sack, it's kind of a bonus. Obviously, we know that was part of his contract structure as well. He's not totally designed to take care of the run, but he can do it. And so, okay, this is a team that runs the football. You got a chance to earn another $1 million. Let's see you do it the gritty way. Let's see you get in the run fits and wreak havoc that way. And Chris was like, no. I don't have to do that. In fact, I am going to be such a good teammate, and I'm going to be as mature of a pass rusher as I can be, that I don't even have to be the best player on the field. I can leave that to L'Jarius Sneed or Drew Tranquil or Trent McDuffie. I can leave that to Charles Omenihu can get the strip sack because I'm here, and my presence alone helps everybody else.
Yep.
And lastly, kids, you could argue he should have got the sack, but Lamar's so good that he got the ball out, right before it hits Trent McDuffie in the face mask.
Yeah, that was this close. Like, that was honestly, I mean, it was amazing to get the ball off, but also that was like a dude, just eat the sack right there. Because had McDuffie just, I don't think he expected him to whip the ball
he didn't,
his face.
No.
But
anywhere but my face.
Like,
Anywhere
had he
but
just
my
gone like
face.
this, that's a pick six, crawling towards the end zone.
Or even a strip sack, where McDuffie's in a place to sort of pick it up and go. Hey, I've seen the clip. It's kind of 50-50. Ref's like, we in Baltimore. They ain't had one of these since 1971. I mean, he kind of whipped his leg, but I mean, swallow when you see swallow the whistle, that's swallow the whistle. Whoa, he got through quickly. Why is he stumbling? Oh, it's because the homie's leg just magically went in a particular stance.
Bruce, lead him.
I gotta eat this one. I gotta eat this one. New York says I gotta eat it. So his stat line should be better than what it actually was.
Yep.
But he still had the pass breakup that infuriated Lamar Jackson, because if that ball gets completed, there's a chance that they break free with Zay Flowers on the bubble screen, similar to what obviously happened with Rashee Rice, even though that touchdown didn't count because, the whole Trey Smith thing. But look, he didn't go stat chasing.
Yep.
He didn't go play hero ball. He didn't do anything that felt outside of himself. And he was okay with not having the credit. So for everything that Chris Jones has went through this season, obviously I got the video of him tipping his cap to Chiefs fans who made the trip to Baltimore. I just thought that is a sign of growth and maturity in year 9 of his career, that if there is a Hall of Fame committee, that game needs to be discussed. Because box score wise, it doesn't look impressive, but you had to be there because Lamar Jackson was terrified of him at all points. And the reason Charles Omenihu gets a sack, Tershawn Wharton, George Karlaftis, and even the fourth guy, Justin Reed, they all get sacks because Chris Jones' existence. And you just cannot take that for granted. So him understanding how great McDuffie played and Drew Tranquil, I mean, he was willing to give credit to everybody when we got to talk to everybody on the field before they went to their usual post-game, media, obligations. But I just wanted to say that. And sometimes I know this is mostly a spot reserved for Seth, but yeah, like Chris Jones was amazing yesterday, even though the box score won't say it.
Going beyond the box score, I love it.
Talking about Chris Jones, he kind of is closing down on you a little bit. Seth, you feel your wall's closing in? Like, I think we could probably we got Jordan producing today because Tucker's on the road. Jordan, you want to just take Seth out? Don't do that. It seems like it would cause too many issues on your end. But I think Nate and I could take it from here if Nate wants to pick up defending Chris Jones beyond the box score. And then real quick, sorry, Seth, would you like to talk about Chris Jones? I'm sorry. I did not mean to keep you from talking about Chris Jones.
No, Nate said it perfectly. I was just gonna say that someone would either.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
1 for 1, Jordan. Hey, I'll come back to you in a second, Seth. But first, check out KCTV5 Sports Tonight. If you want to listen or watch along on Channel 5 here in Kansas City. Weeknights at 6:30, Saturday and Sunday at 10:35. Enjoy your evenings with some of KCSN's own personalities and other great folks there at KCTV5. That's KCTV5 Sports Tonight. Weeknights at 6:30, Saturday and Sunday, 10:35 over there on CBS here in Kansas City. Seth, how are you doing?
I've got to start reading the comments more because Joni, she saw it coming, and had I just read as I was starting to talk,
I think it's Johnny.
She goes, "Here comes a break," and it's just, come on, man. Like Anyway,
hey,
you're very good at baiting me.
Hopkins, please tell us how to pronounce your name. I know you put it phonetically in there, but I think Tucker said it was Johnny one time, but also your phonetic spelling has also challenged me because it could totally still be Joni. So Joni says he. So I'm going to go Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. Yeah, I mean, look, the other people are definitely more aware of when the breaks are coming than you are. And that sometimes, look, Seth, here's the thing, is much like Steve Spagnuolo, I can't let you know where it's going to be coming from. Because if I'm like, Seth, tell me about how good Chris Jones was in this game, then you're going to, do the whole pump fake thing and, I thought we only had one break today, whatever. And
look,
I got to keep it fresh.
And look, the Deion Bush honorary award obviously goes to Jordan, filling in for Tucker, just like Deion Bush. I need to come in the game. Oh, you need a. Okay, if he's going to throw in a triple coverage, yes, coach, I will catch the ball. I will read his eyes the entire play. And look, just like Steve Spagnuolo, Josh has coached Jordan up.
We were on the same page.
He's coached him up all year long.
And
these are the results.
Jordan turning on me this fast is not something I anticipated. Much like Harbaugh, Munkin, and McDonald, there was just a lot going on. I was not fully ready. And look, John Harbaugh is a good coach. I love how Andy Reid, the second he's being interviewed about his accomplishment, starts immediately talking about how great the other coach is. Like, that dude, I don't know if I've ever heard him take credit for a thing, ever. Oh, man, these guys are so great. It's like, Andy, just flex a little bit. Just say something like, I can't believe they took away that screen to Rice because that was beautiful, and I just dunked all over young Mike there. Yep. Just tomahawked from the free throw line on the young fella, and they took it away. Jordan's commenting now. Anyway, the thing with Jones, I am going to write about him this week because the way he impacted things beyond the box score, in addition to the way, one thing that Nate kind of alluded to is something I've written about before, that Spags plans the pass rush around him. Now, obviously, and I know we've got a week and a half to talk about it, so we'll get into it later, losing a Menahu to a torn ACL makes things a lot tougher.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second.
it is interesting. Jones's presence allows you to get away with having a bunch of guys around him. And look, Karlaftis has gotten better. Like that two-handed swipe that he won with late. And by the way, Lamar tried the duck under thing that he'd done like 3 times, and Karlaftis was like, I'm pretty sure you would have had to kill George Karlaftis. He was like, and even then, it would have been like when a python constricts around someone. Even when you kill it, it's like, no, I am never letting go. Like that was such a hand strength test thing where you could just feel him. Like I'm almost certain maybe he'll be on mic'd up. Because I would be willing to bet you are going to hear him going, no, you don't. Like, you will stay right here. And that was awesome. But it all orbits around Jones and the coverage. Because the corners, we've actually seen an iteration of this game this year when the Chiefs receivers, by and large, just couldn't separate. And by and large, the Chiefs could play all sorts of different coverages. A couple times when they zoomed out during the game to all 22, some of them were kind of fancy coverages, but a couple of them were, hey, we're sending an extra couple guys and we've got a spy, and we can do that because we've got 4 corners, 2 of whom are elite, 2 of them are good, real good even. Like, is there any other team that's playing like cornerback 3 by committee in the league, and it's working because Williams and Watson are both so good,
right?
And that coverage ability to just put those guys man to man, so you can't get separation from them. The only guy that might be able to is Zay, and we'll put Snead and McDuffie on Zay all day.
You want to put Rashad Bateman on a 9 route? Cool. Here's Joshua Williams. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, did you know that he is gigantic and runs like a 4.35 40? And he's also 7 feet tall. He's like he's like Wemby at corner. You're just like, which by the way, I don't know anything about the NBA, but I've seen some highlights recently of Wemby, and good Lord, they found someone more alien than Giannis, who was more alien than LeBron.
It's incredible.
I was just about to say, Seth, I'll Venmo you $10 to say his last name correctly, and then before I could even say that, you called him Giannis.
Wembanyama.
Well, Giannis's name is Giannis. And Wemby's last name would be fun for you to try, but at this point, the money's off.
No. Say it with me, Seth. Wembanyama.
Wembanyama?
Nope, there we go. My money's safe.
Bad.
Nate did it for you. My money's still safe. A couple other things defensively here on the line.
I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so glad here. Look, there are the occasional gentlemen looking at me, not sure what's going on, but fellas, this is 2024, and this is how you got to get. This is how you got to get that money. I'll record anywhere. You know, Coach says that we'll play in a CVS parking lot. I'll do it. I'll look you dead in your eye and tell you I'm recording right now. Come get it.
Nate, stop it.
Don't stop. Okay. Don't stop. Keep doing it.
I hope you're not a Baltimore Ravens fan.
Oh, it'd be funny if they are.
I don't think they are. I think they're gentlemanly businessmen who are wondering, what is this poor soul doing in the year of our Lord 2024? And it's called analyzing football.
Making content, sir.
Yeah, we're just
how we
making
feed our
content.
family.
I'll record anywhere.
So the news that we referred to a second ago is that Charles Minahu, after saying on the field to Aaron Ladd of KSHB 41, he said, yeah, I'll be playing in the Super Bowl. Do I look like a guy who's not going to play? I'll be out there. Said that on the field last night, and then just a little while before the show, a report comes out that he's torn his ACL, which is obviously brutal for him, brutal for the Chiefs, brutal for a potentially long recovery. I mean, we're talking about not only that impacting the Super Bowl, but the plan at defensive end for next season to start. I also was shocked to see someone commented this earlier, and I had to go double check because it didn't seem possible, that the strip sack was on the 3rd drive of the game, but he only played 6 snaps. He played 6 snaps, and one of them was a turnover, which makes him the 2nd most efficient Chiefs defender on the day because Deion Bush went 3 for 1. 3 snaps, 1 turnover for Deion Bush. Good work if you can get it.
Deion, he's going to be back on the field in a couple minutes. Honest to God, I think he was just tired, but you just need to. Which, by the way, Mike Edwards and Tershawn Wharton, we all know. Like, hopefully you weren't hurt too badly, but y'all were tired. Like, dudes were sucking air there. They were just
It's the first time
there.
I've ever seen George Karlaftis look tired, and then like 2 seconds later, he was a menace again. But I saw him look tired.
That was weird. When you see Karlaftis like going on a knee before the snap, I was like,
Yeah.
I did not know he could get tired. But that was, I do think it's really funny. Deion Bush comes in, it's like, all right, you're only going to be in a couple snaps here. We need you to get in there. We're just going to have you drop. It's not going to be that big deal. No one's going to throw that direction because, I mean, we're dropping you all there. Although, to be fair, I've seen some good analysis on this. Spags kind of baited the throw. And I love that the receiver had his hand up as he's going down the field. It's like, dude, you're bracketed and a safety's coming. Don't do it. Don't you throw that, Lamar. And Lamar you could tell he felt like he had to do everything at that point. We've seen that. And it just, I'm telling you, it is crazy to me that a well-coached team like the Ravens was so clearly out-coached by the Chiefs. And not just X's and O's, because McDonald, I think, caught up a fair amount in the second half. They didn't bite on, again, the Chiefs took a couple shot plays. They called it up, but the Ravens were too disciplined to fall for it, and they were still swarming the shallow stuff. That's hard to do. But just in terms of keeping their guys level, maybe, I don't know what it is, but some of the things that the Ravens did to themselves, it was just stupid. Just stupid penalties that hurt them in multiple moments. And I just like seeing the difference between the way the Chiefs play and that. It was just such an interesting thing. The kind of the human element of coaching, I think, goes underrated at times. And having guys that are willing to say, yeah, sure, flex. Be yourself, do all that, but don't you dare get a penalty. We're actually, someone pointed out to me, we are kind of really good. We're like, Chiefs fans are experts in taunting penalties because of Tyreek Hill's peace sign thing. And we actually saw all the iterations of that got penalized and don't. And I was seeing people on Twitter explain it, and it was actually like dead on. But they're just like, well, no. You can flex on someone. You can spike the football near them, but you can't do it at them. And if you do it at them, then they will throw a flag. And they will. And also, Zay Flowers, if you're in the middle of the field and it's just the two of you,
just keep
everyone's
running.
Everyone's looking at you. You're not in the middle of a scrum where they're going to let some stuff go. I mean, that's just how it works. And also, you let Snead kind of run you down, dude. Like,
which I don't understand because he had an angle cutting back to the inside. And then Snead just like kind of slow played him and he ran right into Snead. I was just like, what is that?
That was such a weird moment. And I do think I've talked about Zay Flowers as kind of like a Tyreek Hill light. The difference between the two of them, well, Hill is maybe the greatest pound for pound athlete the NFL's ever seen. Flowers has really good quickness, but he doesn't have as good of long speed. And you could kind of see it there. He couldn't quite run away from Snead. Everyone catches up. And then 2 plays later, he punches the ball out. That is the most delicious turn of events I've ever seen in my life.
So anyway, Charles Omenihu, who I was gearing up to ask you both about a few minutes ago, if you may remember.
It's sad.
It's really sad, and Seth had tweeted so much about Omenihu and like what he means for the defense, and then also even today, I think he'd already tweeted about what the loss is going to mean. I just wanted to ask you about that, Seth, but I'm glad we got the other side. I think the other stuff's important also. It's just not. We just got from Deion Bush to L'Jarius Snead with a few steps there, and you've got a Euro step and segues. It's incredible. You got to get.
Coaching.
You
really
should go
hard.
back to doing the solo newsletter podcast thing because it. You still have the gift of really covering a lot of ground without ever having to stop your dribble, Seth. You've gotten better at it, in fact. I turned that into a compliment instead of saying what I really felt.
Yes.
You think I'd recognize a compliment sandwich? Like, what?
It wasn't even a sandwich. It was just a compliment, but if you cut it open, you're like, this doesn't actually look that good. I don't.
What kind of quiche is this? Like,
this, coaching is difficult. We all understand it. But with Charles with Charles Omenihu now no longer, unfortunately a part of the Chiefs game plan.
Yep.
It does put one person in the spotlight. Yes, it does, kids. Yes, it does.
I can't tell which F word I'd rather you say right now.
His name is BJ Thompson. I'm
Oh, yeah.
joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I'm saying it's either Felix or it's Frank, and we're finally getting the reunion, and Frank Clark comes back just for the Super Bowl.
Would you accept this phone call, Josh? Would you accept it?
Personally, absolutely. If I was Brett Veach, not necessarily. You've got two healthy scratches at defensive end every week. You're probably all right.
But it's just one game. It's just a one-game contract. It's just
Sure.
a one-game contract for Frank the Shark Clark. It'll make Chris Jones happy. It'll make Chris Jones happy.
I'll tell you what. If you tell Chris Jones that it means that he should play maximally difficultly, that's fine. I was going to get maximum effort. I was going to say maximum hardness, and then I tried to bail out of that before I said it, and then
Sure.
It's
We've
like
had a very clean podcast so far, and
I'm about to blow it up. It's like when the boys know. I mean, he's your cousin. Like, I mean, he called you about the bachelor party. Who told him? I mean, we know what Frank's like in Vegas. I mean, we know. Are you sure you want to do this? It's just a bachelor party. It's just a one weekend, guys. It's just, come on, baby. Like, he's gonna be really behaved, but he also knows all the spots. He also knows everything about the playbook. I mean, he can be an excellent wingman. And look, don't you want Chris to feel great in Vegas? Don't you want him to feel great, encouraged? You know, it's sad. It's sad that Charles can't make it. But you know what? We booked the hotels already. We got the suites. We got the tables. Frank says he's in. He doesn't even know how he's going to get to Vegas, but he says he's in. Come on, guys. We've all been there. We've all literally been to that bachelor party.
Clark is an. Sorry, that was really funny. Clark is an interesting name to float around just because they've got to replace snaps and a fair amount of them. It would, no matter what they do, Karlaftis and Dana, their roles will increase significantly. Because even if they sign Clark, assuming he stayed in football shape and all that stuff, you're going to ask for 15 snaps from him, give or take. And so even then, you're not asking him to replace Amenahu's role. I think Wharton playing as well as he is helps.
Malik Herring only played 14 snaps anyway, and he's been active this whole time. Just get your 6 from Felix and run your 14 from Herring.
Yeah, Felix makes more sense on obvious passing downs because he's shown a little juice from the edge. And so it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't completely shock me if this ended with like Felix having a couple of pressures or even a sack that people notice in the Super Bowl and leads to them saying, why wasn't he playing all year? And the short answer would be because he's got a little juice from the edge, but he's got a lot of stuff to work on, and the Chiefs have a lot of defensive linemen. Like that's just is what it is. But
can you give us a quick spiel on the sort of multiplicative effect of Charles Amenahu?
Sure. And so it's just basically the opposite of the good side of complementary pass rush that I've talked about for a while, in that with pass rush, it's not just about frequency of pressure, it's about the nature of the pressure. And we could see that, like with Lamar Jackson, some of those snaps, if only one guy gets through, you can run away from that. When the entire pocket collapses around you, that's a much different problem. And that's the intensity, the type of pressure. And the more dudes you have, or even guys, the more the higher the frequency of pressure, the more intense it'll be. And then there's also, so Chris Jones wins, a third of the time or 25% of the time or whatever because he's a beast.
He's a super
you still have 70. Yeah. Then you still have 75% of the snaps where if no one else is getting pressure, and that's where the strip sack. That was Amenahu. He won the edge. He made a play on his own. Now, he was one-on-one in part because Chris Jones exists. But it also, you need those guys who can win that matchup. And then Jones doesn't have to be a Superman. The AFC Championship last year, Other guys helped, but Jones was just Superman. You can't count on one guy to win 60% of their snaps. That's not sustainable in the NFL. Teams are too good. Like, it would be really funny if, like, the Niners came up with some plan, like, you know how the Chiefs have Snead follow the best corner? They're going to have Trent Williams line up anywhere on the offensive line. Chris Jones. It does not work like that, people. That would be...
Do it, Kyle Shanahan. Do it. Do it.
That would be
amazing.
I would watch that. Although I wouldn't. Let me just tell you, the number of times you're going to see Chris Jones rush the left tackle against the Niners. If I'm Spags, it's zero. And I love Chris Jones. Chris Jones is great. Trent Williams is unbelievable, and it's a waste of a dude. And even Jones might win, but he's much less likely to win than he is lining up off that right tackle.
That matchup is a push, and Chris Jones versus anyone else is advantage Chris Jones.
Exactly. So you take away that advantage. So the problem with losing to Menahu is you lose the second best player on the team in terms of winning pass rush snaps one-on-one. Karlaftis keeps getting better at it. He does. He's like fiddling around with being in dude territory. He's thinking about it, but he's not sure. And so... He's so close to going from a guy to a dude, but it just varies based on matchup. Whereas a Menahu wins one-on-one a little more, and so then it just takes away from the sum of the parts as well, because now you're a little more likely to where, let's say Jones or Karlaftis creates some pressure. Without a Menahu, let's say it's Dana, let's say it's Wharton, let's say it's FAU, it's someone else. They're a little less likely to have all of that pressure making its way home, and a little more likely for Brock Purdy to, run away and create something with his legs.
I'm sorry, Seth. I gotta. This is just. I just don't agree. I mean, I'm looking at the box score here, and George had 4 tackles, a sack,
Is the music in that restaurant getting louder?
A batted ball, maybe.
Am I losing my mind?
A quarterback hit and a fumble recovery. That's a dude. I'm sorry. The box score tells me that's a dude. 4 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 quarterback hit, 1 forced fumble, 1 batted ball.
He just stop it. He doesn't win as consistently one-on-one as I'd like. Now, he doubled his rate from last year. So that's good. But it's impossible to replace. It's super a bummer for Menahu and for the Chiefs. And given the timing of it, we'll see whether he's
Now I just don't know why they don't run the ball with Lamar. I mean, have they seen this boy's legs? I mean, the man can fly. Why, Coach? Why are we dropping back on 3rd and 8? We can just get 6 right here and get to 4th and 2. Come on, Coach. We've been doing it all year. You know they gonna blitz. Hell, run a screen. Have the coaches heard of a screen? A screen, I tell you. I mean, my God. I mean, Justin Tucker is out of character. Calvin Noy, I mean, why was he even on the field yesterday? Cal Hamilton, I mean, he's our best offender, but some of the boys got to pick him up. And coach. I mean, why we asking Lamar to throw in the end zone? Well, we just need a field goal right now. We just need to make it one score. Is someone not in his helmet telling him that he don't have to throw it like that? You ain't got to throw it to double coverage. Lamar, we still got 9 minutes on the clock. 9 minutes on the clock. I just wish Lamar, you would just, you can't take the sack because that happened in the 3rd quarter, okay? And look, that ain't even your fault because Gus Edwards or Justin Hill, I don't even know who it was, but they got blowed up by Justin Reed on that block. And we need to be coaching better on pass protection next year based on that 3rd down that knocked us out of field goal range. But Lamar, we're already in field goal range. You know Justin Tucker's going to make that kick. You just gotta take the sack. Or you got to use those legs. Get us in a
hey, Nate, here's a good question. Where was this voice on Pat McAfee's show?
Yeah. What you're sitting here going on McAfee and being featured on NFL Live, and the version we get is Mr. Hankey.
I mean, Justin Tucker gonna make that kick. It's 17-10. It's a whole new ball game. Now look, I know Zay gonna be good. I know he gonna be good. He gonna be so good. And look, that's not your fault. You gave it to him right on the dime, baby. It's not your fault, Lamar. What I'm saying is we gotta coach him up better next year. And I don't know if you gotta get in Mike McDonald's. You know what? Or if you gotta get in Todd Monken. I mean, I seen what he was doing in Georgia. Okay, it was cool, but he ain't
Kind
no
of a more
Nick
Yosemite
Saban.
Sam thing. Now.
He ain't no. He ain't no.
Troy says, I don't think the Ravens had enough players that went to school south of the Mason-Dixon line.
We got to get more Southern boys. I tell you what, though, we got to get more Willie Gays. Okay, we don't have enough Willie Gays. We have too many Calvin boys.
Is that the music producer who was on the Chiefs sideline with a speaker? That Willie Gay Jr. He plays football too.
He plays football. We need more Willie Gays. We got too many dogs. Everybody want to be a cat. Be a dog. Be a dog. We need Willie Gays. We don't need Calvin Noyes.
Josh,
we need Willie
do something
Gays.
about this.
What do you want me to do? You want me to interrupt Nate in the middle of what the show is fundamentally built around?
That's a solid point.
Look, here's where I'm at. We have covered the big plot points from this game, I think, and good news, fellas, we're gonna have 3 more shows before the Chiefs play the Super Bowl. So I will go ahead now and predict also, because I think it would be hysterically funny if we went out under an hour the one time Tucker's not here. I just think that would be hilarious. So I'm incentivizing that for both of you guys for the sake of a bit. But
yes, because I also need to go home.
You have like a flight ticket on that. I hope you don't miss.
That was really my dismount. That was my grand finale of the fireworks show.
And I think it's fitting. So let's go ahead and put a bow on it here then. We will be back on Thursday, and again, with no game to immediately preview, we're going to look back a good chunk, and we'll begin to hear from the Chiefs as they're going to take a couple days off, and I think Thursday is their first day back with media, I think is the plan. So we'll have some fresh pressers to talk about as we do look ahead to the Niners a little bit, but I know Seth's about to hop into the film. Both of them have been writing already. Of course, you can read what Nate's written up on theathletic.com, and you can also get ready for an entire Super Bowl fortnight of coverage, not the video game, but the 2 weeks, I think is what that actually means. So we'll be back on Thursday and do that. Guys, real quick, Seth, final word, and then Nate, you can get us out of here.
I became at a loss for words like 10 minutes ago. I have nothing to add other than just, man, I'm excited to talk about another Super Bowl. I think about how we got here, and now the Chiefs have destroyed what was supposed to be the best offense in the league, went on the road to what's supposed to be one of the hardest places in the NFL to win, beat that team.
God dang it.
Oh no.
The In Spags We Trust shirts say they're sold out now. They wouldn't even ship for like 3.5 hours. For 3.5 hours, I was trying to. Justin Reed said he'd tweet out the real ones. This website has them. I was there at 2:00 when they launched, and then they're $65 American, by the way. And I'm gonna look again. Maybe the website's just broken because the site wasn't shipping. But if you want to go check out for the In Spags We Trust shirts, Justin Reed tweeted them out, but I think they might be gone.
That is, I'm sorry.
I will continue to effort.
He will continue to effort.
Well, maybe you know what? They might just have taken it off the site entirely, and maybe they're going to try to refresh that. So I don't know. I'm just that's my PSA, and now I'm legit done talking for the rest of the show.
The rest of the whole show, oh man, I bet we can make him break that promise, Nate.
Well, I mean, functionally, I'm done with things that I wanted to say, and I'm focused now on buying this shirt for $65 American.
That did not last long.
Let's go ahead, Seth.
Just says 404 page not found. So let's try again tomorrow, friends.
I don't even know if it's a bit.
Oh, the site couldn't handle all the traffic all at once. This is 30 minutes ago. Sorry, I'm late here. The manufacturer's working to solve and should be back up and running by tonight. So I've got Justin Reed's push notifications on, so I'll retweet it whenever I find it. Go ahead, Seth.
And so,
hurry up, man. We're almost to an hour.
The Chiefs.
Spit it out. You were all words 30 minutes ago.
They took an unbelievably tough path to get here. And every time, we're coming out of this, maybe they're not that good. Maybe they're injured. Maybe that kind of stuff. I want to be cautious because I did use that paper tiger analogy earlier. I think the better way to say it is, honestly, compared to a Chiefs core of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Steve Spagnuolo, and honestly, you can add Snead and McDuffie to it at this point. Like those guys, this year's team, those guys are like the core of it, and they kind of were last year too. Maybe everyone looks like a paper tiger when they really play their game. The one thing that we've learned about the Chiefs that's still true, that I didn't think was true anymore this year, we used to always say that whether or not the Chiefs won a game depended on them, not the other team. I thought that wasn't true anymore this year because of the deficiencies at receiver. I think we found out during the playoffs that's still true. If the Chiefs play their A game and another team plays their A game, the Chiefs win 10 times out of 10. And it's kind of nice to have that feeling of inevitability back. That's kind of nice.
Nate, get on the plane.
The locker room was filled with cigar smoke because Joe Cullen lit, I think, 3 cigars. Joe Cullen had himself a night, kids.
He's smoking like Wolverine.
Are my eyes okay? They still got cigar smoke all over them.
God dang it, we hit an hour in a second.